Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of my reading plans for the month of April 2023. So I'm not doing my usual Scrabble TBR game this month. I actually filmed pics for that and then I decided not to use them. So I will recycle that footage for the May TBR, but the reason I decided not to do a TBR game this month is because I have some things planned for the month. The biggest thing I have planned is towards the end of the month, I'm going on a trip with my father to England. We are going to be in London for a few days, but most of the trip we are going to be in York. So because of that, I wanted to be able to read some books themed around my vacation. So basically, I just decided not to do a Scrabble TBR because I wanted to make sure that I would be able to fit in the books that I want and need to read. This is sort of a tentative TBR because I might change my plans about a couple things, but there are some things that I definitely want to get to this month. Let's start off with the books that I know I'm definitely going to read. First of all, my Read Christy pick for this month is The Pale Horse. Read Christy is a year-long readathon where basically everyone is encouraged to read a book by famous mystery writer Agatha Christie every month. This is my pick for the month of April. The prompt is a book with poisoning in it. This is a standalone mystery by Christy, and it deals with several deaths in a village, and there's also an element of the occult to it, I've heard, so don't know a whole lot about this one, but I've owned it for a few years now, and I'm going to read it this month for the prompt. I also have an arc on NetGalley that I need to read this month. That is The Scottish Ladies Detective Agency by Lydia Travers. Thank you to the publisher Bookouture for giving me this arc on NetGalley in exchange for an honest review. This is the first in a new series that follows a young woman named Maud McIntyre who has just started her own detective agency in Edinburgh in the Edwardian era. She works alongside her former lady's maid turned assistant, Daisy. The two of them receive their very first case and they are sent to the country estate of a duchess. Recently, several wealthy people's jewels have disappeared from house parties around Scotland, and so the Duchess wants them to investigate and preemptively prevent a jewel theft from happening. But over the course of this house party, things go wrong, and I suspect someone is going to end up dead. The premise of this book kind of reminds me of the Lady Hardcastle mysteries just because of the lady and her lady's maid dynamic. Though, caveat, I actually have not read the Lady Hardcastle mysteries yet, so maybe they're actually nothing alike. Just that's what came to mind when I read the description of this book and saw the cover. So take that comparison with a grain of salt. This book is going to be published on April 27th, so I definitely need to read it this month and get my review out. I have two other historical mystery arcs on NetGalley. I don't know if I'm going to read those this month, though. Neither of them are being published this month, so I do still have time. But I do definitely have to read this one, and I will be featuring it in another arc reviews video in the coming months. And speaking of historical mysteries, this month I also want to read the next Veronica Speedwell mystery by Deanna Raybourn. It's been a long time since I read one of these books, and it's one of my favorite historical mystery series at the moment, so I am excited to continue. I am currently on An Unexpected Peril. Is this book 5 or 6? How many have I read? Alright, this is the 6th book in the series. The premise of this novel is that Veronica and Stoker are investigating the disappearance of a princess who has recently come to England for the signing of a peace treaty. This is a really delightful, witty, romantic historical mystery series set in late Victorian era London, and I really just find the relationship between the two main characters delightful, so I'm excited to get back into this series after several months of not reading any. If I have time, I will also read the 7th book, An Impossible Impostor. I might read that, but I may not be able to get to it. I will say I am excited to read this one. I'm a little bit nervous because based on things I've seen people say about An Impossible Impostor, I think my girl Deanna is gonna mess with my OTP, and I might have feelings about that. I'm not ready. Just let Veronica and Stoker be together and solve crimes in peace. Like, I just got them. You can't take them away. So now let's get into some of my vacation-inspired reads. So since I am going to be going to the north of England, a place that I knew I really wanted to go was the Bronte parsonage. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte is one of my all-time favorite classic novels, and so in celebration this month I am finally going to read Charlotte Bronte, A Fiery Heart by Claire Harmon. This is a biography of Charlotte Bronte that I have owned for a few years now, and I haven't gotten around to reading it. This month I think is going to be the perfect time. I also thought about finally getting around to reading Villette this month as well. This is by Charlotte Bronte. However, if I'm being completely honest, I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Like, I think it's a great idea in theory, but am I actually going to be in the mood to read this month? Probably not. I do need to read it eventually though, because I own it. I've owned it for a little while and I have not even attempted to read it. I don't know what's going to happen this month though. Being honest, it's probably not. I did decide that while I'm in England, I think I will read some of Shakespeare's sonnets. I don't think I'm going to end up reading the entire thing, but I think I definitely can start it. I bought this copy when I was studying abroad in England. I bought it at Shakespeare's house. Let me put this in front of my face so it'll focus. Still not focusing. There we go. Now you can see it. Isn't it cute with the flowers and the berries on it? This is another book that I've had for a few years, and I've said multiple times that I was going to read it, and then I didn't. So I think this month I will just dip my toes in and start it. Not as intimidating as Villette is to me, so I think this is a safer bet for this month's TBR. Then, since I am going to York, I thought it would be really fun to read a book that is actually set in the city of York. I am going to read either The Apothecary Rose or The Service of the Dead. Both of these books are by Candace Robb, and they are historical mysteries set in medieval York. Yes, they are both the start of 2 new series. So I might be starting a new historical mystery series. Potentially more than one. I'm already in the middle of several, but you know, I just thought it would be fun, and I love a historical mystery. I'm writing one. I need to read more of the genre, so it's fine. It's fine. I am not sure which one of these I'm going to read this month. It really depends on what the library has and what I'm in the mood for, but I do think it would be really fun to read a book set in York while I'm actually in the city of York. I think that would be a really fun thing to do, and I would love to take some Bookstagram pictures with like York Minster in the background or something. Wouldn't that be really cool? So that's why I want to start one of these series this month. I think it would be a great reading experience. And the last thing I wanted to say in this video, I might need to start some more historical mystery series. It's just gonna be me and my 75 unread historical mysteries against the world, I guess. But I really do need to read some more series because, like I said, I have been writing a historical mystery set in Regency era London. I will link my last writing vlog where I talked about it. And I am searching for some comp titles for when I get to the querying stage. And because of that, I need to read a lot of other Regency set mysteries to find successful books that I think I can compare my book to. Basically, for those of you who don't know, when you are submitting a book to an agent or a publisher, you need to tell them some comp titles, aka comparable titles, and this basically just means popular books in this genre that your book is like. Think about if you've ever picked up a book at the bookstore and it says on the cover, this book is X meets Y. Those are comp titles. They are used for marketing purposes, so people who enjoy those things will pick up this book and buy it. So I need to start reading some Regency set mysteries to find comp titles for my book. I was thinking maybe I'll do a vlog, sort of like, you know, recently people have been doing vlogs. I can't stop reading until I find a 5-star. I might do one. I can't stop reading until I find a comp title. So I need to read some Regency mysteries this month. Feel free to leave me some recommendations if you know of any good ones. One caveat, I know a lot of people have recommended to me the Sebastian St. Cyr mysteries by C.S. Harris. I am not going to read those because my library doesn't have the first book. I did fill out a request form, so maybe they will get it, but currently they do not have the book and I do not want to go out and buy it. So I know you all have recommended it to me. It's not happening at this point, maybe in the future. You can also recommend to me mysteries that aren't necessarily set in the Regency. Maybe you're set in the Victorian or larger Georgian era, but if they have a strong romantic element, I think that might also be a good comp title for me, because my book has a main male character and a main female character, and the two of them are co-leads of the book. So if you can think of a historical mystery where the two main characters are sort of on equal footing, I think that could also be a good comp title. If you have any of those, you can recommend those in the comments as well. So some books that I might potentially read this month. I do have a free Kindle copy of The Hanover Square Affair by Ashley Gardner, which is the first in the Captain Lacey Regency Mystery series. I saw this one was free on Kindle. It was at $0 for a limited time, and so I downloaded the Kindle app on my phone to read it. I actually don't own a physical Kindle, but I figured, hey, it's free, what do I have to lose? I will check that out. The other book that I think might be a good comp title for my novel is Murder on Black Swan Lane by Andrea Penrose. This is the first Rexford and Sloane mystery. People have recommended this series to me in my comments as well. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil my book, but just knowing the basic premise of this series, all I'll say is there are clear parallels between this series and my series. So that makes me think this is potentially going to be a very good comp title for me, but I'll have to read it and see. Basically, the premise of the Rexford and Sloane series is that it's set in Regency London, and the two main characters are the Earl of Rexford and Charlotte Sloane. Charlotte Sloane also secretly moonlights as a political cartoonist named A.J. Quill. Over the course of the series, they solve mysteries together and also eventually become romantically involved. I do think this could be a really good comp title for my book. This series has like 7 or 8 books in it now, I think. There is a book coming out in 2023 called Murder in the Merton Library, I believe, set at Oxford. And on Goodreads, it describes that book as perfect for fans of Miss Scarlet and the Duke and Bridgerton. I like one of those two things. I do love Miss Scarlet and the Duke. Again, another thing that has a very strong like romantic element, lots of banter. So if this series has those things too, A+, perfect. I did not like Bridgerton. The consent issues, oh boy. But I will give Bridgerton this. Bridgerton has made the Regency era very popular. It's very in vogue right now, and it's popular even with people who are not very into history and historical fiction. So I'll give Bridgerton this. While I personally do not like it, I think it has increased my book's chances of getting published by making the Regency so mainstream and popular at the moment. So, while I do not like Bridgerton myself, if it's going to help my book get published, thanks for that. Thank you for that, Bridgerton. You did help me out some way. So, I don't even know how many books I named in this video. A lot. I mentioned a lot of books. I don't know if I'm going to read them all, but these are the things that I'm thinking about reading this month. We'll see what I actually get to. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a mesmerizing rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.